Back with the second weekly set of set, the second uh, video of this weekly series that I'm trying to start of films I've watched during the week. So this week, um, I watched four films streamed, um, and then from a website called from a streaming service called Mubi, MUBI. They show independent films. They show cult movies, classic movies, documentaries. So I watched four from them that expired. They've all expired now, but there were some pretty good films. Um, the fifth film, a friend of mine um, directed me to, so I watched that. And then the sixth film was recommended by another friend. I don't know. He's not really. He's another YouTuber. I don't know. I shouldn't say. I don't know if I mean friend exactly. I don't know. I meant another YouTuber. I mean, what I. Well, going back, the fifth one, he's a friend and he's also a YouTuber, and this other guy is a YouTuber. I don't really know this other guy, but he recommended what will be the last movie I'll show you, which is the only movie I have this week on disc. Um, anyways, okay, let's get to it. Anyways, on Sunday, um, I'm looking on my phone. That I keep track of the films I watch each week on my phone. So Sunday, June the 10th, I watched this film from the country of Mali, it's in Africa. I'm pretty sure. I think that's where Mali is. Yeah, it is. It's an African movie. It's called Brightness, um, and under their language, I don't think they're speaking a language like French or what other languages would it be? Portuguese? I don't know. You know how some people some Europeans colonized Africa, and in some African movies, some of the characters speak in French or they speak in English or maybe they speak in Portuguese or Spanish. Well, in this particular case, I think they spoke in their native language. But anyways, the movie was directed by a person named Souleymane Cissé. I don't. I'll spell it out. Souleymane, and the last name is Cisse. It's from 1987, and it's about this young man who's trying to flee his uncle. His uncle has magical powers. It's set in like the 13th century, um, and there's no like modern. Um, you don't see anything modern, like 20th century furniture or cars or anything like that. It's authentic. It looks like the time period that it takes place in. Yeah, but you see various tribes in Africa, and you see his uncle trying to find him, and you see he has to split up from his mother. So that was okay. It wasn't too bad. But there was another African film I will get to that was much better than this one. Second film I watched, and these first four are from Mubi. The second film I watched is a film called The Bridges of Sarajevo. And the country it comes from is Bulgaria. It came out in 2014. The reason why I watched this one was because Jean-Luc Godard, who's who's some of his films I really like. Like one of my favorite films of all time is Weekend by Godard, which is um, funny and yet maybe serious at the same time. You know, because after he made Weekend in '67 or '68, I think it's '68 he made Weekend. But after that, I've seen some of Godard's other films. You know, after he made Weekend, he becomes much more non-narrative, I guess you could say, and more experimental and more radical with his Marxism. Especially like right after Weekend, and then he starts maybe playing with media. In um, more current stage of his life. Like the '80s and the '90s and so on. Um, so whenever I see like Godard appear up on movie, I watch it. Um, so anyways, this Bridges of Sarajevo, it's just a bunch of short films, and he directed one of them, so that's why I watched it. If he hadn't directed one, excuse me, I probably wouldn't have watched it. But uh, anyways, this is a pretty interesting film because there's some of the other filmmakers, um, some of the other directors' works were pretty interesting to watch. There's one showing a cemetery in Sarajevo, I believe, and one talking about the burning of a library of books, and um, there's one about a young boy and um, how he's trying to find peace or something like that, and he's trying to be a good person and trying to lead by example. So it's kind of a mishmash. Some of it's good, some of it's okay, And in regards to Jean-Luc Godard's particular short, I didn't think it was that fantastic. I think he's done better work. I think they just include his name in there because he's a big name director and he's directed some. He directed a lot of the classic foreign movies. His first film, of course, Breathless, and one of the great new wave classics. Weekend, like I said, and his other ones like Alphaville and Band of Outsiders, also known as Band Apart, and Masculine Feminine, and Two or Three Things I Know About Her, and La Chinoise. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. The Chinese. Godard, for me, he kind of polarizes me. There's a few directors like that kind of polarize me, and he's one of them. Um, he either makes a movie I absolutely love or I absolutely hate. So, like, excuse me, a few of the films that I don't really like of his are Pierre Le Fou, which stars Jean-Paul Belmondo, and he was in Breathless. So I like him, but I didn't like Pierre Le Fou. I don't know what that means in French. And then he directed another movie. What was it called? Oh yeah, Contempt, which I think is highly praised of Godard's work. And it has a pretty big star cast. It has Brigitte Bardot, it has Michel Piccoli, it has Jack Palance, and it has Fritz Lang. Fritz Lang's one of the great foreign directors. Well, not just foreign directors. He's one of the great directors. But it was a horrible movie, in my opinion, Contempt. And another director that kind of polarizes me is David Lynch. I either hate his movies or I love his movies, like Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, um, um, Lost Highways, Lost Highway, Lost Highway, Lost Highway, um, Elephant Man, Straight Story. Those are good films, especially like Eraserhead or Mulholland Drive. But then there are films that polarize me, that I don't like of his, like Dune. I think that's a complete failure. Um, what's that long one he made? Oh, I can't think of the name of it. What's that film he made? Oh, Inland Empire. which, for me was like a bag of overindulgent crap, just not good, and too long. Not that a film can't be that long, but it was just an experiment gone awry. And what's the other film that I don't? Oh, Wild at excuse me, Wild at Heart. I don't like that movie. Diane Lane putting up all that lipstick on her face, and you know, didn't like that. It's not that I don't like the actors in the movie or the director. You know, Willem Dafoe is a really good actor. But Wild at Heart is not my cup of tea. The only film and I know I'm digressing from what I'm watching this week, but I think I can digress a little because I haven't seen that much this week, and I don't think I'll be making as long a video as 30 minutes like last week. So I'm at 10 minutes now. I think I can finish fairly soon. But anyways, Blue Velvet, the Isabella Rossellini part of the movie and the Dennis Hopper part, I like a lot. I like the darkness. I like the how would you put it? The interior world, the bad side of things. But I didn't like the Laura Dern parts. I just thought, I don't know what I thought. Too wholesome. I don't know. It didn't work. So I'm kind of in the middle with that one. Okay, so last film I watched on movie was a film from Iran. It's called This Is Not a Film. It's from 2011. It's directed by a director named Jafar Panahi. I don't know if I'm butchering the name. And Matjaba Mirthsebi. I'll spell the names for you. Jafar Panahi. Jafarpanahi. He is a director in Iran that, I don't know if I should say anything. That he says something in this documentary or faux film of how he ended up where he is currently, under house arrest in his apartment, and he's been granted a little leniency by the Iranian government because of pressure from the outside by other filmmakers outside of Iran, maybe some governments, and so this other guy, Matjaba Mirthsebi, Motjaba, and then Mirthhasebi. He comes in. I think he's the guy that comes in with a camera. He's a documentary filmmaker. This guy, this Matjaba Mirthsebi. Jafar Panahi is a very well, excuse me, very prominent Iranian film director. He's a very nice guy. Cares about people. You see that when he talks to somebody that's working in his building, picking up trash, as to what he wants to do in his life, and but he's had some trouble with Iranian authorities making movies, and he's worried, he doesn't want to bring other Iranian filmmakers into his mess if he can get them, out of it. He doesn't want to implicate anybody else. And this film, I think, was shown at Cannes. I believe it says, this series of movies that I'm talking about, these were shown at Cannes. So, just to digress for a second, The Bridges of Sarajevo, the Godard movie, was shown at Cannes. Probably, maybe it got some leniency because Godard was, one of the directors. So, Godard's one of the legendary film directors. So, obviously, they got to put him in Cannes, just because of who he is, you know what I mean? But, anyways, this film got to Cannes. And the way they got the film out of the country was they stored it on like a small memory chip, like a just a little chip. Excuse me, I'm sorry. From the director's camera, and they put it into a birthday cake and they smuggled it out that way. And yeah, so that's how that got shown. So the fourth film I watched a movie this week. Oh, and I'm sorry. Monday I watched June 11th. I watched The Bridges of Sarajevo, and Tuesday I watched This Is Not a Film from Iran, and then I watched this other movie, which is probably the best one of these four. It's a film called Lamb. It's from Ethiopia. It came out in 2015. The director is a person named Yates Zalecki. The first name is Yates, and the last name is Zeleke. This is a really good movie. It's good for families to watch. Not just families, but anybody. But it's a good family movie. It's set in the present day, and this this young boy, his mother has died. I don't know if it was from famine or what exactly. I can't remember. I think it was or did she get a disease and then his father just decides to take him to live with his great aunt. I believe that's who it is, and her family, so he can find work in another part of Ethiopia. And he has a companion with him, which is his lamb, and he has a lot of problems, sort of having his lamb around because they need food to eat because they're poor and they want to. They're thinking, let's sacrifice the lamb. And he's got to figure out, how that won't be able to happen. So I don't want to give too much away. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I'm also trying to give you something so you might want to watch it. Yeah. And it is interesting plot twists and turns. This film, there's interest. He's not just the only character that's interesting. He's got I guess it's his cousin who reads a lot. She's a very interesting character. His great, maybe it's his great uncle. No, it's his uncle. His uncle thinks he's like a sissy because all he does is cook and he can't farm like a man does. Yeah. So, anyways, and towards the end of the movie, there's a scene where he's crying, and I started crying too because it was just it was a tearjerker, and the end is uplifting. The ending of the movie will really lift your spirits. So, if you can, definitely try to catch it and watch it. Okay, so Friday I watched June 15th. I watched Blue Collar. It's a film directed by Paul Schrader, who wrote the screenplay for Taxi Driver. Came out in 1978. Stars Richard Pryor, Harvey Keitel, and Yaphet Kotto. The screenplay was by Paul Schrader and Leonard Schrader. I think Leonard Schrader is his brother. The music's by Jack Nitzsche. Jack Nitzsche was one of the musicians who played along with the Rolling Stones. I think he was one of the piano players. They had Ian Stewart and they had who's the other guy the Rolling Stones had as far as piano players go. There's three of them, I believe. Ian Stewart, Jack Nitzsche, and somebody else. I'm blanking. And but anyways, when you watch the starting of the movie, the beginning credits, you hear this like slide guitar, and that's Ry Cooder. Ry Cooder, he played a song for the Rolling Stones on one of their albums. It was on Sticky Fingers. What's the name of that song? Um, what the hell is the name of that song on Sticky Fingers? I think it's the second one. Sway. I think it's Sway that he does the guitar work on that. And he also does the guitar work on one of Mick Jagger's solo efforts, maybe his first in the late '60s, early '70s. He did the slide guitar for, I think it's a slide guitar for a film that Jagger was in that I really couldn't stand, called Performance. And there's a song called Memo from Turner, which Ry Cooder does the guitar from, and that's a good song. Memo from Turner is a really good song, but the movie sucks in my opinion. But I'm digressing. So, and then I looked up the credits of this movie on IMDb. It's edited by Tom Rolfe, who I think was the editor on Taxi Driver. The production designs by Lawrence G. Paul. Now, he would go on to do the production design for one of my favorite movies of all time, Blade Runner. He was instrumental in making that film look the way it did. So you got like a pretty big powerhouse of people on the cast and crew who would, you know, later go on to and have done before this, significant work in their fields. Yeah. So, but what do I think of Blue Collar? I think, um, I think, I think it's a good movie. I think it addresses things probably we don't want to really address or feel comfortable about thinking about, but we have to, I think. I mean, that's the thing about '70s movies was that the '70s movies that I saw, maybe a little further back, like the '60s, that maybe not everything is sunshine and rainbows, and sometimes not everything's going to turn out, wonderful, but it addresses issues like race, class, power, money, greed, oh, and I can't believe it. I forgot to give. I said I would give star ratings for each of these films. You know, one being terrible, two being average, or no, two being poor, three being good, four being excellent, and five in the higher echelons, the high stratosphere of really great movies. So let me just backtrack a second. So Brightness, the African film from Mali, I'm going to give that. I give it 3 stars. It's good, but not great. Bridges of Sarajevo, I'm going to give it, because some of them were really good, but some of them weren't. What would I give that movie? I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars. This is not a film. 3.5 stars. Lamb, I give 4 stars. And Blue Collar, I'd give thinking 3.5 for 3.5, I guess. Okay, so that leaves me with one more. Maybe I am going to 30 minutes now. I see I'm on 23 minutes. This movie I took out of the library. It's from another YouTuber. He does his series of movies. He says he sees every week. He does his videos on Friday. He puts them up on YouTube on Friday. His name's Robert Harrison. And last week he recommended that he does his ratings from a 1 to 10 scale. And anyways, he talked about this film and he gave it a 9 rating out of a 10, I think. And I thought, that's a pretty good rating. So I said, why not watch it? And I looked on I work at a library, and we had DVDs there, and I looked up on a computer, and we had it, so I took it out. So it's Grand Hotel. It's with Greta Garbo, John Barrymore, Joan Crawford, Wallace Beery, Lionel Barrymore. Excuse me. From time to time, my what do you call it? My iPhone turns off. I have to turn it back on. I don't need it anymore. I guess I've got everything I was going to say. But anyways, the one Best Picture, 1932. And I haven't watched all the special features. I don't think there's a commentary with this. I don't think so. I'm looking forward to the special features. You know what? When I started watching this, I thought it moved kind of slow, but then it started picking up fairly quickly, and then it became a really good film. So this film concerns various people that come to this Grand Hotel in Germany. Is it Berlin? I think it's Berlin that they're located in, and the sets are unbelievable. The sets for the hotel are very well done. The acting, is kind of, because of that time period, kind of a little bit overdone in a way, kind of. Maybe that's from the silent era, where, what I'm trying to say is, like, different decades in the film history, in different countries and different political movements and everything have influenced the way movies are made and how they're portrayed and how the stories evolve and how people act in the movies. So it's natural for this time period, the way they act, and the slowness of it and everything. And I like the slowness of it. I like how it, took its time and everything. But and I know Robert Harrison. I guess he said he didn't want to spoil anything about this movie. I'll just say, that you get to see it. Well, how can I put this without spoiling it, or spoiling it very little? It addresses issues such as what is true happiness, what is being fair, greed, love, opportunity, life and death, and the metaphor is the hotel is like life or something like that. That's the way I guess it's supposed to be addressed, as you see at the end of the movie. So a lot happens in this movie. I recommend it, but it takes its time, so you gotta give it some time to watch and get into. So so I give this film 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars. Okay, so that's it. That's the films for this week. I'll try and come back next Saturday and do another series. Not another series. My next episode of this weekly series. When I watched this Grand Hotel, I got it like under the wire in a certain sense. I say that I put my weekly movies I've seen every week on a Saturday. So I did watch this film on a Saturday. But by the time I finished, it was after midnight. So technically now it's Sunday. And right now, as I'm recording this, it's 1:43 in the morning on a Sunday. And when I put this up on YouTube, it'll be in the wee hours of the morning on Sunday. Maybe not everybody, not everywhere in the world, but some places, people are asleep right now, so they won't see it right away. So in a sense, I'm late, putting this up, but technically I'm not. So apologies in a way for putting this video up on a Sunday when it really is. Finished it technically on a Saturday. But anyways, keep your eyes peeled. I plan on doing another one of these next Saturday. I'll plug also my what do you call it? My YouTube channel, Kubrick Lover 1972. You'll see garage band music that I've done with my guitars, I should say plural, and MIDI keyboard and drum tracks from songwriter. I also have a blog called Pools of Visions blogspot.com. I might type that in before I send this video to YouTube. I'll put it right here. Wait a minute, I'll put it right here, and you'll see what I'm talking about, which is POOLSOFVISIONS blogspot.com. I'll put it right here, and I'll put it up for a few seconds so you can check it out. It's basically my poetry's on there. Okay, so, and then I guess the last thing I'll say is, I just thought of it now. Maybe I'll add it before I put this up on YouTube. I was thinking of putting an intro on here, like intro music, and I have something I think from GarageBand that I did a while back. Maybe I'll put that up on here. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next Saturday.